Welcome again, Aries. It's 2015 September. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au. Thanks for joining me. Tonight I wanted to speak a little bit about dreams, aspirations, the sorts of things that are going on right now in your life, which has to do with the opposition of the planet Jupiter and Neptune, and right now also the Sun, which has been in conjunction with Jupiter. These two planets, Sun and Jupiter, in your sixth house, which has a lot to do with your working life. Not necessarily the power of achievement per se, but more the day-to-day routine, the relationships you have with co-workers. And the opportunities are there, but that third planet, Neptune, in your 12th house of self-sacrifice, is really challenging you in this. So some of you will be indeed feeling that the dreams that you have now are somehow not connected to the practical reality of what it is you are trying to achieve. We see the Sun receiving a triangular aspect, trine aspect, on the third, and that's a good aspect. It brings with it some powerful opportunities, some imagination, and the ability to somehow balance that opposition, which is always a challenge, astrologically speaking. Jupiter's just recently moved into this sixth house, so there's going to be a lot of expansion, a lot of work in this area. So in a sense, I think the month is a signature one for establishing what those dreams are, figuring out the practical aspects of how you're going to actually make those dreams come true. And we see also in that sixth house, which is the sign of Virgo for you, the solar eclipse on the 13th. This is a pretty intense new moon period for you. So there's a lot of focus on this sixth house. And mind you, it's not only to do with your work, it has to do with your health, your dietary regime, it has to do with pets. It also has to do with enemies and how much money you're spending, the debts that are likely to be there. So, when we talk about dreams, this whole Neptune aspect, we have to look at how all of these other factors of your life may impact upon making those dreams a reality. So after the 13th, when this new moon takes place, you can start to see some headway, some movement towards making those dreams come to fruition. There's a lot of opposition there. As the month starts, you've got the moon in opposition to Mercury. And of course, this month, Mercury does go into its retrogression around the 18th. That's going to take place in your 7th house of relationships, very near to the North Node or the karmic point. So that one there, I believe, is a revisionary aspect associated with your relationships. That can be relationships of a personal nature or relationships associated with your business partnerships, because that does seem to be a strong focus. Although let's not forget, you do have that, that powerful conjunction of Venus and Mars in the 5th house, and Venus also having a strong relationship to your relationships by ruling that 7th house of marriage and long-term committed partnerships in retrogression as well. So there's a lot going on for you people born under Aries. and need to really retrospectively go through your emotions, your sense of self, and how your relationship can be improved. Sometimes there's a bit of a stalemate here, or the relationship can stall for a while. But it's all a matter of attitude and how you're going to bring yourself back into an understanding of what needs to be done to kickstart the relationship. When Mercury's involved, talk is the best way to do that. The opposition from the moon as the month starts can cause you to be a little bit muddled in your thinking, though. So you've got that opposition to Neptune, so your vision, your imagination, and the way you plan your discussions may also be bogged down. You need to keep things constructive, shown by the as yet unfinished Saturn business in your 8th house of intimacy. That is coming to a close shortly, so don't worry. But it is in the trine aspect to Saturn as the month starts. So constructive sorts of practical approaches will be the ones that are going to work best for you in that sense. All of that stuff is contrasted by this very passionate 5th house, Venus and Mars, in the sign of Leo. We see the moon coming into that sign around the 9th. So a lot of activity up there to the 13th. As I said, that's solar eclipse, and that's very powerful. That's a new moon for you. And if we're talking about the relationships as well, when the moon comes to the sign of Libra, sometime thereafter the 17th, it will also come into conjunction with that retrograde Mercury. So that's the time when you'll probably be in a better position to express those emotions, because that combined influence of Mercury and Moon is very powerful indeed, and in the foreground in the sign of Libra. I'm talking about that Saturn for you, and that does finally exit your 8th house, probably one of the most difficult but yet transformative houses of the zodiac. We see that occurring on the 18th. Moon also conjoining Saturn at the same time. That's going to be a very significant transit out of this 8th house. And I think that day, although I usually say that you're not going to feel too much on the precise day, this may be quite the opposite for you. So I'll be looking out for that date. 18th and 19th. Very powerful days. Moon moving into the 9th house as Saturn moves to the 9th house. This is a very, very big shift in focus for you after 2.5 years. And most of you will indeed be feeling some of the ramifications of that. It brings some of your challenges out of that level of intimacy into the 9th house of higher mind, education, travels, that sort of thing. And it's a slow-moving cycle. We're going to be talking a lot about that over the next few months and how you can best deal with that. But for some of those of you who are students or working in legal departments or as lawyers, travel agents, working in the travel industry, this could present a bit of a problem for you as it starts its own sort of testing and challenges throughout its transit in this area. The other important transit I'd like to talk about is the full moon, the opposition of the moon to the sun on the 26th. That again is going to complete that cycle of the 6th house, 12th house, visionary thing I was talking about. Rest assured, you're going to have to give of yourself, especially that 12th house moon around that date. Mostly has to do with a sense, and not just blah, 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 talking about it. Understanding from your experience that as you give, the process is one of circular returns. The process of karma. And that lunar eclipse on the 28th in your sun sign is very powerful. So you end the month towards the end on the 28th with a very powerful eclipse there. This is the release of a tremendous amount of energy. For you, the moon is a powerful domestic factor relating to your family, your mother, and females in your life, but also your own personal emotions and how you deal with that. So the eclipse can release a lot of that and give you an insight, pardon, how to deal with that aspect of your life. And the eclipses take place on what we call the nodal axis, in this case the south node. The lunar eclipse in Aries has a lot to do with your past, releasing a lot of those past hurts, those emotions. Bit of a change on the 30th when the moon conjoins Taurus second house. So I think the month will finish on a note related to finance, money, and material concerns, but not until doing its very intense sort of emotional work on you through these eclipses throughout the month of September. Take a look at astrology.com.au, more detailed analysis on these transits. This is just a quick snapshot. You know, everything's instant coffee these days. You want your instant snapshot. I don't want to labour the point. You can go into that in more detail. And this is a general synopsis for, most of you born under Aries, or if you have Aries rising, or if you have the moon in Aries. So look forward to your company next month. Have a great one. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye. He doesn't want to turn off.